one SEC Media Days is in the books. I just love this time of year because that just means we're getting closer and closer and closer. It was good to catch up with a lot of old friends yesterday.
Yeah, it was.
And in Nashville, man, what a great city to have.
Home turf.
Man.
Home court advantage.
Right in our backyard, guys.
Right there.
Right there.
Straight from the studio over there.
Open the back door. Guess where we are?
We're there.
SEC Media Days, our backyard.
Going to be in Dallas next year, which makes sense. Texas and Oklahoma coming in the league.
Does it? You got to earn. You got to earn it.
Well, no, I get it from a PR. Look, I get it from a PR standpoint.
No, we're giving out handouts.
Smart move. I wish they'd have it in Nashville every year.
Me too. Maybe we need to start the petition now.
I don't know. We'll just stop.
Texas A&M's like, we've been in here over 10 years.
Dude.
Like, when do we get home field advantage?
Yeah, I mean,
Texas comes in first year. They're like, let's go to Dallas.
well, maybe we should do like what the environmentalists do and just like chain ourselves to like the podium at SEC Media Days.
I probably was gonna not do that.
I don't think they'll care.
I'm still calling DeAndre
I think
Hopkins.
Greg Sankey will just laugh at us.
Yeah,
Probably would. He did have the Metro PD there. He did honor him yesterday. That was pretty cool.
yeah.
Nick Saban's legacy gets questioned by Paul Feinbaum. Jimbo Fisher hands off play calling duties to Bobby Petrino, kinda. And Billy Liucci of TexAgs is going to join us to talk all things Texas A&M and college football. I'm Jake Crain, and welcome to Crain & Company. Now, I have a ton of respect for Paul Feinbaum. He's an icon in our business. He's always been cordial to me, and he was gracious enough to come on with me early in my career before I was really anybody in this business. But when he says that Nick Saban's legacy will be badly hurt if he misses the playoffs for a third straight year, I couldn't disagree more. Now, obviously, Coach Saban wants to go out on a high note, and it's one thing to talk about somebody winning 7 national championships, but it's another when you're talking about someone who has literally transformed the way the sport is coached. Nick Saban, in my opinion, is the greatest college coach of all time in any sport because he dominated during an era where it's the hardest to form a dynasty. This isn't 1954 anymore. He has totally changed the way that coaches operate when taking over major programs as well. He's the king of roster management, which we don't talk about enough in college football. He's one of the best recruiters as a head coach ever, not only in terms of who he signs, but how he evaluates. He opened the floodgates to modern-day coaches being able to exert full control over a program, and he's made more millionaires than the lottery. Shout out to Jay-Z. Now, we aren't just talking about a winner. We are talking about a transformer unlike any we've seen since Optimus Prime helped out Shia LaBeouf. Now, he has revolutionized the game by being one of the few coaches who, when they made it to the top consistently, is still consistently malleable to adjust with the times. For example, he wasn't a huge fan of being a spread-out offense or the hurry-up, no-huddle, or being an offense that takes shots on a regular basis. But he realized he had to adjust with the times, and he brought in new coordinators. Look at Lane Kiffin. Look at Steve Sarkisian. He was willing to adjust. And that's a trait that he does not get enough credit for. We all know how stubborn great coaches can be once they make it to the top. Now, he also has the coaching tree of life when you look at all the disciples he has, manning huge coaching stations around the country. Feinbaum then went on to say, it hurts even more when Kirby Smart wins in the same league that Nick Saban is in. To me, that's like saying Ken Griffey's legacy is hurt, Ken Griffey's father's legacy is hurt with every home run that Ken Griffey Jr. hits. Now, Saban gave Kirby the blueprint, and Coach Smart has perfected it even more. Saban's legacy is set in stone, and if he doesn't ever reach another college football playoff, that won't change the fact that he is college football's greatest man with the headset, who's paved the way for so many great coaches and turned a powerhouse that once was down on their luck into the machine that it was always supposed to be. Now, Alabama fans are hungry, and they should be. The standard is higher than the front row of a Bob Marley concert in Tuscaloosa. But when it comes to legacy, Saban has the best one we've ever seen, and he isn't done yet. I'm going to go and bring in my co-host, David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver, Blaine Crain. And look, David, I'll start with you. Nick Saban, I don't think, has gone 3 years in a row at Alabama without winning a national championship. And we have a clip of a little bit of what Feinbaum said, and I want to play that. But to me, this story was written into the tablets and buried in Samaria a while ago. Let's play this clip.
But if for some reason Alabama does miss the playoffs again this year, are we going to be talking about Nick Saban's legacy in a different light?
If he is in the same league as somebody who has now, at the end of the season, won 3, then that's a big hit on his legacy. And I think you also have to question Saban for what happened last year. He had the best team in the country going in. They were nearly unanimous. And at the NFL draft, in case anyone wasn't paying attention, let me refresh your memory. He had the best offensive player and the best defensive player, Will Anderson on defense, and of course the Heisman Trophy winner from 2 years ago and the #1 pick, Bryce Young, on offense. And with that, he still couldn't get it done. The defense let him down. There were mental lapses across the board. They had 17 penalties in the Texas game. I think they had just as many against Tennessee. And some of the coaching was subpar, too. And, I mean, Nick Saban, I've never seen a Nick Saban team get scorched like they did in the final minute against Tennessee in Knoxville when Hendon Hooker led that team down the field in 4 plays and kicked a field goal and sent Alabama home a loser. So those are serious questions.
15 straight years of double-digit wins. You lose one game late to Tennessee. How many times have Bama beaten Tennessee in a row? Like 14 times? You lose one game in the final second because Tennessee has the best offense they've had since, Peyton Manning or T. Martin was running around, and all of a sudden now your legacy's tainted. The Kirby argument to me makes no sense. It's basically not his son by blood, but that's his protege, one of his 3 to 4 tightest proteges. At some point, the table was going to turn. And just because the media thinks your team is the unanimous... Georgia was the best team in the country last year. Georgia was the best team in the country, hands down, from top to bottom. Just because the media says that your team should be the unanimous favorite doesn't mean that they are at the end of the day. I get that it's talking season. I get that it's making the rounds. We're talking about it on our show. But this man is the GOAT, and it's not even close.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much left to say after that. This is the byproduct of being too good at your job, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, 15 straight seasons. Since his first year at Alabama, he's never had fewer than double-digit wins. 12, 14, 10, 12, 13, 11, 12, 14, 14, 13, 14, 11, 13, 13, 11. Never more than 3 years in a row without winning a national championship. I mean, that's how high this guy has set the bar. It's like when Tom Brady was just so good when he would throw his first interception during the season, everyone would say, well, this is the Tom Brady downfall. I guess that's just what happens when you set the bar that high, and maybe it's like an evening out in society or something. When you're so good, you have so many championships, so much money. The fact when you don't win one for like 2 years in a row, everyone's like, oh, well, we got to bring Nick Saban down while we can because he's probably going to win the championship this year. Yeah.
I mean, Blaine, like the bar on the bottom of that screen said finished with 2 regular season losses. Like, that's just the worst. Like just the city got invaded. Like, Tennessee just got invaded.
What are we talking about? I mean, Paul did this on purpose.
For sure.
We know deep down, I don't think Paul Feinbaum believes this.
No.
I mean, even you called Nick Kirby's father in the monologue.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's real. He's 189-27, 9 national championship game appearances, 6 natties, 8 SEC championships, 44 first-round picks in NFL draft since 2007. What are we talking about? I mean, even if you had the best team, you could say, I would say the best 2 players. I don't think you have the best 2 players. It makes you have the best team. I thought Georgia's roster, comparably, you could argue when it comes to Alabama's roster from last year. But no, I'm not surprised by this. This is just ESPN in a nutshell. They're going to say whatever they got to say to stir up some controversy. No way. The only way Saban can hurt his legacy if we all find out there's a mastermind plan of him trying to take over the world.
Yeah.
And that might hurt it.
Or something off the field. That's fair enough.
Yeah,
it's fair enough to question Joe Paterno's legacy after what happened.
Like, he's been kidnapped.
It's a question to ask, what did he know? What did he not know? Like something like that. What are we talking about on the field here?
There's nothing. He could go 0 this year, and in my eyes, it wouldn't hurt his legacy.
Well, this is like saying Michael Jordan's legacy is tainted because of what happened with the Wizards. Like, it's the same thing. It's the same. And you know what? Nick Saban may mess around and win the whole thing this year. I don't think they will, but I wouldn't doubt it. I just, again, out of all the places you could have grabbed something, right, to make headlines, Nick Saban's legacy, I don't know. This ain't it, as we like to say. But before we get to the Booster Club, because we want to know what you guys think about it, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Great day at Media Days yesterday. Excited for day 2. Got Hugh Freeze today. Kirby Smart. One more. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Mississippi State.
Oh, Zach Arnett. Yep. Excited to see Zach, even though our RIP Coach Leach was weird walking in there yesterday without him being there. But I will tell you a legacy that's getting built by the second. Our friends, okay, over at Carzing. Okay, we like to be prepared. Nick Saban, I talk about how, having full control of what's going on, going into something and understanding what you're getting into. If you're in the market to buy a car and you want a scouting report that can lead to a great game plan where you can go in there and have an answer for everything, you need to go to carzing.com/booster today. That's carzing.com/booster. All right, you can skip the guesswork. You can find the best deals near you at Carzing, because we all know buying a new car can be stressful. Can we talk about it's one of the biggest purchases that you're going to make, especially if you want to go in there and buy that Lambo, like you did.
Yeah. Like me?
Yeah, like you, that Lambo.
Like me?
Tipping on 4.4s.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
You must have seen Elon driving around.
That may have been Elon. That may have been the electric Lambo.
Can you hop in a Lambo?
This guy.
Can you get in a Lambo?
Huh?
Can you get in a Lambo?
Look, I'll figure a way out.
They got to do like...
I didn't realize Carzing had the Lambo hookup, too.
Yeah, they got to do it like Shaq and take the back seats out.
Oh, yeah.
But in all seriousness, it completely changes the way that you buy a car online. They provide you with everything that you need before you step foot in the dealership. You can pre-qualify online without affecting your credit score, which is big. Get instant financing details. You know what your down payment's going to be, monthly payment term, APR. It puts you so far ahead, and you can find the right car at your ideal budget, Blaine.
I love that. Hey, and the budget's huge. Hey, even if you're not in there, really want to pull the trigger.
You want to just know, you want to test it.
You want a little 50 cent if you're going to be a window shopper.
Dip your toes in it.
And they can help you and find you right where you need to be and it's comfortable. Hey, you're safe here.
Yeah.
Carzing, you know where Carzing is?
Tell them, Blaine.
It's in the trust tree.
That's exactly right. They're right there just hanging out. So go to carzing.com/booster today to skip the guesswork and find the best deals near you. That's carzing.com/booster. All right, we got Billy Lucci coming on today. Yeah. We got the top 5 college football uniforms. It's basically football season, and we are hot and heavy. But first, let's go to the Booster Club.
Let's go to Mike and them at Crain and Company. He says, Jimbo usually is great in front of a camera, but yesterday he was messy. Not talking on Lionel either. Counted 27 cliches in the first 6 minutes. We asked 18 questions and interrupted 6 of them. Doesn't bode well with the boys.
Listen, at this point, the media doesn't matter. Jimbo's got to win on the field. Like, interviews just don't matter anymore. Jimbo's gone about it every single way. He's flamed Nick Saban. Speaking about Nick Saban, he's gone in there heavy. You know what I'm saying? Pulling out the glizzy and getting busy. He's gone in there with coach speak. He's gone in there interrupting people, clicheing it to death. Jimbo, it's year 6. It's year 6. He's used every strategy at media day, interviews, all type of stuff. Kind of ducked the Petrino question. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about that in a second. But look, at this point, it's about on the field, man. He could go in there dressed as Elsa from Frozen. He just got to win on the field, man.
So he was Lionel Messi in there, huh?
Yeah.
Buying cereal at Publix.
Let's go to Jimbo Eagle.
Yeah.
There's a $20 dono here.
Oh, Jimbo.
Wow,
Jimbo.
Jimbo.
Appreciate that, buddy. He starts off with hilarious how Tennessee football gets a sweetheart deal with the NCAA. Yeah, Syracuse basketball got the book thrown at him because one of Boeheim's assistants helped Fab Mello out with his homework.
Listen, yeah.
Jimbo always wakes up pissed about something. I love it.
Yeah, I know. Jimbo always brings the gas. I'll say this. At this point, the NCAA is losing so much of their teeth. Like, I'm surprised that Tennessee was like, and I'm going to correct something yesterday. I said 28 scholarships over a 5-year period. They've already served like 12 of those. They did those. They were proactive. Took away 12, I believe, so it's only 16 over a 5-year period, which is obviously a humongous difference when you're in the rat race of college football. I do want to correct that from yesterday. 200 violations, 18 level 1 violations. You avoid the postseason bowl ban. I think Tennessee, with now the discounted scholarships, that almost $9 million fine when you end up looking at it. Like I said, you fired Jeremy Pruitt with cause. save some money there. I'm not worried about Tennessee with money, okay? They're like I said, they have a bunch of boats that pull up next to a Neyland Stadium, which is basically like the Coliseum in Rome. They're not hurting for cash over there. I did see where a Tennessee politician said that if the NCAA did try and give him a bowl ban, he was going to sue him to like disallow it. Like you want to know how important it is? That's how important it is. We're not worried about taxes. Not worried about any of this other stuff. You guys give Tennessee a bowl ban, and we're coming after your ass. That's what they said, and I respect it. I want to live in that world. I love operating in that world. It does just mean more. But I think you can look at it both ways. Tennessee was super proactive, got rid of Jeremy Pruitt. Yeah. They did the scholarship deal. So I can see it from both sides. But they did get away. It's like on Scooby-Doo. He's like, I would have got away with it for one of you meddling kids, but we did kind of get away with it, though.
Well, Syracuse didn't fire Jim Boeheim.
No. Jim Boeheim ran over somebody with a car.
Keep their head coach, but then also not get punished, whereas Tennessee went ahead and got rid of the guy who was in charge.
All right, cool. Let's go to Cole Frink, $2 donation.
Yep.
What's this one?
I think we all know what this one is.
No, I have no clue.
LeBron is the GOAT. MJ is mid.
No,
and Brewers are number one.
Good
for you,
I'm
Cole.
double checking.
Good for you, Cole.
Scanning.
Man of the people, Cole. I love that.
Hold on, I'm on it. LeBron is mid, MJ's the GOAT, and the Brewers are number one. You liar.
Yeah, I wonder.
You sit on a throne of lies.
I wonder who said that about the Brewers. I just wonder. I don't know. Maybe we'll just go back and find the tape.
Sit on a throne of lies.
Let me just take this knife out of my back real quick, Dave. Let's go to String Gene. So Saban did not give Kirby the blueprint. All right. No one else has found any blueprint. Kirby's the one with the blueprint.
Okay. I just want you to think about this. I am not saying that the only reason that Kirby Smart and Georgia are having success is because of Nick Saban. But Kirby Smart, and when I mean the blueprint, and we hear cliche terms, right? The process, the blueprint. What it is it's practice structure, it's roster management, it's knowing how to hire, knowing who to fire, knowing how to evaluate and recruit, and the way you go about it. Because it's not just, hey, this player's good. There's an evaluation process that it goes through. The way we used to do it and the way a lot of people do it, and it's a lot more intricate, I think, the way that Saban does it because he's so detail-oriented, is you say, all right, you have this area to recruit. You have this high school. The guy who has that recruiting area looks at the kid. It may be his position coach. It may not be. All right, you fill out your sheet. You move that to the coordinator. Coordinator signs off on it with the position coach. Then they move it to the head coach. Then you sit in the recruiting meeting and everybody looks at it. It's all the little things. It's not saying, hey, guess what? Just run this defense or call this play or do this. No, it's every second having something scheduled or knowing what people are doing so that you are getting better every second of the day. The blueprint is how you go about it. It is the structure of a program. I brought up roster management. People, we talk about in the NFL all the time. We don't talk about it in college football enough. That's why I said yesterday when I was going around doing these interviews, when's the last time you remember Alabama replacing a quarterback and a left tackle in the same year? You really don't see it. You really don't see it at Georgia. It's a way that you go about things. That Kirby has perfected it, I think. Kirby has taken it to the next level. And being at a place like Georgia, which is a golden egg place, helps that a ton. So it's not taking away any credit from Kirby. It's actually giving Kirby a compliment that he took the best blueprint and he's found a way to make it better at a place where you can maximize potential at an incredible level. So let's not get the two confused. Two things can be true at once. And Kirby Smart is the golden child, the golden protege of Nick Saban.
All right, let's go. That's Mick Michelson to you. Coney, will Jayden Daniels finish this season in top 5 in Heisman voting?
I'm starting to think, yes, we got some good vibes from Jayden Daniels.
We did. We're dropping that interview tomorrow.
I'm telling you, I never spent time around the kid before, but some really good vibes. So make sure you check out that interview coming out tomorrow. He was bigger than I thought. He's put on a lot of weight. He said that his ankles healed up, had a good rehab this offseason. That LSU-FSU matchup, week 1, I think it's the Sunday night, the September 3rd matchup, that's going to dictate a lot of things that happen throughout this season. I think Jayden Daniels could be a top 5 quarterback. Like I told him when I was watching him at Arizona State, he was super skinny, started as a true freshman, one of the few quarterbacks around the country who was still lining up under center and not in the shotgun. That was the old Herm Edwards offense. So now they have Logan Diggs over there at LSU. This week 1 matchup is going to be one of the greatest that we've seen in a while because, like you said, it's an insurance play for teams to pick up that win. But can FSU really run the table and go unbeaten in the ACC if they happen to lose to LSU? On the flip side of that, if LSU loses to Florida State, can they still win the West like they did last year? And if they go on to win the SEC championship, you would like to see them in a playoff spot. So that's what's going to be fascinating to me.
Well, if you're Jayden Daniels, you have everything. It's almost like Carson Beck. You have, and he has obviously more experience than Carson does, but you check every box you need to have a big year. Returning offensive line that you know is quality. Skill players that you know are quality, which with what should be a really good run game with the backs they have. We heard about John Emery yesterday. Logan Diggs coming over from Notre Dame. We talked about Malik Neighbors out wide. LSU's always going to have athletes. But then defensively, did you see the way his eyes lit up when Blaine asked him that question about the defense? He knows. He looks across there and sees Harold Perkins. He sees Mason Smith. He sees the rest of, and his quote, aliens that are running around on that defense. And then you look special teams-wise, LSU should be good again. So you have all the pieces there from an insurance standpoint. Florida State, in my opinion, because they do have the ability to play Clemson in the ACC championship game, if they beat LSU, they can afford to lose that game at Clemson, beat them in the ACC championship game and still get in there. You lose that one, then you probably got to run the table because I don't see a 2-loss ACC team getting in. So it's a fascinating story.
What do you two guys think about Jayden Daniels, Heisman Trophy finalist at the end of the year?
I think he has the ability.
There's so many good players around the country this year.
Such quarterbacks.
Right? And it's not like I wouldn't have put Jayden Daniels in my top 5 quarterbacks across the country when you're looking at what's out west with Caleb Williams and Michael Penix Jr. and all these great players. But I don't know, just seeing the type of season that LSU's capable of, watching how he started to throw the ball downfield more through halfway through the season.
Talked about that.
You asked him about yesterday. If he stays healthy, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility at all.
I think a lot of that has to do with LSU's success. If LSU's in the SEC championship game, I'm sure Jayden Daniels is going to be in that top 5.
Yeah, well, and you need opportunities, too, for those Heisman moments. I mean, you got him.
He'll get
play
him.
Bama.
He'll get him.
You play Florida State.
Look at this. Opens with Florida State.
Yep.
Look, he's going to get Arkansas, obviously, Ole Miss on the road, Auburn at home. You go to Tuscaloosa. There's an opportunity right there. You finish the season with Texas A&M, and one of their crossover games is Florida.
Yeah, you have to have opportunities for that Heisman moment. He's going to have them plenty.
All right, Deion Green, good to see you in here. Absolutely. Let's go to Swanee. Saw an Aggie friend at the gym yesterday. That's how they're going to be this year. He said they're winning the West. He said, I think I offended them when I couldn't stop laughing hysterically.
Look, I love
their delusion.
No, I love confidence. That's what makes it great.
Yeah.
That's what makes sports great, though, right? Everybody right now is 0-0. I'm not a trends guy either. I think we get lost in the weeds too much there. We talked about that with Billy Lucci, too. Every year is different, right? Again, patterns, there are patterns everywhere in the world, in all facets of life. Some things happen back to back, but eventually they change, right? And football is cyclical. So I'm glad that A&M fans are confident. I'm glad that Auburn fans are confident. I'm glad that Tennessee fans are confident. We know Georgia fans, USC fans, Oregon fans, I'm glad they're confident. That's what makes it great. It's that hope, right? That you just cling to.
Expectation.
That you outside of Vanderbilt.
No.
Just that hope that you cling to. Just, hey, this could be the year. This could be it. Because guess what? If it happens this year, all the sins of the past are washed away, baby, like the rivers of ancient Babylon. All right, one more.
All right, let's go to.
Remember, donate. You get your question asked quicker.
Absolutely. Let's go to Texas Ed. Said, what player are we looking forward to talking to today the most?
I'm going to get Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers would be great.
Swiss Army knife.
Speaking of Heisman's,
Yeah.
what will he have to do? What will a defensive player have to do to win the Heisman?
I didn't want to talk about
Like Perk.
Be Charles Woodson.
Like Hero Perk.
Don't play defense.
Like, there's got to be something.
No, you can't do anything because they're just giving it to some quarterback. Congrats again. It's a quarterback award. It's turned into the Maxwell Award. That's what it is. There's no difference between the Maxwell Award and the Heisman. Absolutely no difference now. Harold Perkins could have 683 tackles and 30 interceptions and force 20 fumbles and recover 30 fumbles, and they'll give it to Caleb Williams because he broke 2 tackles and spun out and threw a touchdown pass.
I think Harold would win the Heisman with those numbers.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Only on NCAA. That's the only way. You want to know how? That's how.
All right, you want another one?
Yeah, one more.
I was going to call Fring $2 donation. He wants to know, did y'all get my care package for the shelf?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet, but we know it's coming in, Cole. I got my eye out for it, and I'm super jacked and
I want
tan
a care
about it.
package, Cole.
All right, we're going to get into rapid fire in 1 second, but I'm also jacked and tan about the greatest meat company ever of all time. That is Good Ranchers. And guess what? Last night, we threw some more steaks on the grill, those ribeyes. Mama T's in town, my mother-in-law. We absolutely diced one up. I got some coffee rub and put it all over it. It was absolutely fantastic. Very underrated. But You know we love anything made with top-of-the-line quality. That's how we do things here at Crain & Company. That's how we roll, okay? And for meat, that's Good Ranchers. You don't have to be a scientist to figure that out. All right, the only thing missing is a pork box. Well, if you ask for it, they deliver, because that's what they do. Good Ranchers has just lost their prime pork. I didn't even know about this. I'm just finding out about this in real time. Me and Reed were talking about this the other day. 100% American pork that is steakhouse quality. The new pork box comes with bone-in and boneless pork chops. Yes!
Told you, boys.
Sausage. Listen to this. Listen to this. Look, what time is it? It's 6:55, and I'd love to throw some on the grill right now. I feel like an LSU fan. Bone-in and boneless pork chops, sausage, smoked brats, and more plus. Right now, you'll get $30 off with our code BOOSTER at goodranchers.com. Just for a second, talk about it.
Look,
just
last time we talked to the Good Ranchers guys, he told us, hey, we're getting into the pork game.
Oh.
It's not going to be that much longer, and here it is. There you go. And my Butcher's Bundle got delivered this past weekend, and the folks just happened to be at the house. I'm glad they got to see
Doesn't that make you feel great as a man, as a provider?
Yeah,
and then
the mom was like, oh, yeah, I need to re-up my subscription. I'm like, yeah, you do. That's a good reminder.
Well, me and Reed been watching 1883, and all they complain about is not having food. So every time Good Ranchers shows up at the doorstep, I just look at Reed and walk outside and just look around and look up at the sky.
Look what I did.
Yeah, look what I brought home. Meat.
I killed this.
Good Ranchers taking over the game.
Taking over the game. So, what are you waiting for? Enjoy real meat and real service today with Good Ranchers. Visit goodranchers.com, okay? Helps us out too. And use our code BOOSTER, that's BOOSTER, for $30 off any box. That's promo code BOOSTER at goodranchers.com. Goodranchers.com, American meat delivered. It's delicious. You're welcome. All right, let's get into rapid fire, David.
Shohei Ohtani
Yup.
hit his 35th home run. Is this guy going to hit 60 home runs, like we were talking about with Aaron Judge last season? And is it just a matter of time before he gets out of there?
Oh, he's gone to the clown. Now, did you see where it said that Angels aren't going to trade him to the Dodgers? They're like, nope,
Good.
won't do it.
Good.
And
Great.
good for
Awesome.
them.
Great. Awesome.
Good for them.
Can't wait. Save us.
Which means
please.
he'll end up at the Yankees.
Shohei, please save us. Terrible right
Clip that one,
Listen,
the Yankees Twitter.
Shohei, as somebody who has him on his fantasy team, as a hitter.
You said that 8 times already.
35 tanks. I mean, the man is and look, he's one of the hardest pitchers to hit. Listening to Freddie Freeman and them talk about him at an All-Star game, they were just glowing over Shohei. He's like, he gets better every year. He's like, the thing you don't realize, the two things, one is how fast he is, and two, how big he is.
He's huge.
So we know the Angels aren't going to do anything ever. I don't care how many Angels 100%. In the outfield they have. Shohei's going to end up with the Yankees. Why are we even beating around the bush here? All the bouncing balls are setting up for him to end up with the Yankees. They're in last place, right? It's New York. It's a Cracker Jack box. You want to talk about 60? Put him in New York, where you could spit a sunflower seed over right field from home plate.
Talking launch angles,
he may hit
baby.
80.
We're just talking launch angles. That's all we're talking about.
Angle the dangle,
That's
baby.
literally all you do. Sometimes you just close your eyes and just Randy it. Randy roll over. You're looking at if the ball's gone. 100%. Come save us, Shohei, please. We need it. We need it bad.
Freak.
All right, next one up. So the Texas-Oklahoma matchup this season, we're going back to the Red River Showdown now, or the Red River Rivalry. Is that what we're going back to now?
Yes. Why can't we just call it the Red? Because it was the Red River Shootout. Then everybody got all fancy pants about that and all weird about it. Then it became the Red River Showdown, which is like the worst nickname ever, which sounds like, something that happened like with Moses walking out of somewhere. And then then now it's changed because of a new sponsor. Is it Allstate?
Yeah, and which they've sponsored it before. That's why I was even surprised when you pointed this out to me. But yeah, the 119th Texas-Oklahoma game will return to a familiar name with a new sponsor in 2023 titled the Allstate Red River Rivalry.
Why do we do this?
This is the Red River Shootout.
What, like the Red River?
It's the game.
I don't think anybody has ever been like, you know what? I was going to go out there and shoot up that mall, but then I looked at Oklahoma and Texas playing each other, the Red River Shootout, and made me want to do it. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, alludes to gun violence. This is like when Anthony Richardson was like, I'm changing my name from AR-15. Just call me like Ant-Man or something like that. That's, what? Have we really gotten to this point? We can't call it the Red River Shootout.
Yeah.
That's what I call it.
We've been at this
It's like
point.
the world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
Yeah.
Guess what that is? I'll call that forever. You want to know why? Because people are outdoors drinking a ton of cocktails.
Yeah,
because that's how it should be.
Don't
This
you
is
dare play
America.
that Braves theme song either.
that will get played before the end of the show.
Shout out Matt
But also, I
Moscona.
think that the Iron Bowl should just be renamed. It's just it's offensive to steal.
Yeah, come
You know, the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
get
Like, how are we gonna just call it
Yeah.
the Iron Bowl?
He's
take
Yeah, I think the
Like,
Michigan
just-
Ohio State game should get renamed.
Yeah.
To be honest,
it's called the game.
It's
I
called-
think it should be renamed to who's going to lose to an SEC team in the college football playoff.
That's far too accurate of a name. You need to be more abstract.
Sorry, David. That was
it's
below
funny,
the belt.
Yeah, that one hurt a little.
No, this is just like this
It's
is
dumb.
semantics.
Yeah.
It's semantics.
What are we doing?
But literally, who's been pushed over the edge by like somebody who's just right on the verge of committing an atrocity, and then they flipped on a Saturday, and they just flipped on the game like, you know what, that's it.
Maybe Nick does need to take over the world.
Maybe he does.
Maybe he does. At this point, I'd probably be like, you know what?
we need the blueprint.
What's the spread?
Yeah.
What's the
It'd
spread?
be
against
different.
Michigan
It'd be
against the world?
different if they change it to the Red River, I hate you, Dad, and everybody that lives in my town and goes to my school.
That would be aggressive.
yeah, that
I
would
wouldn't
be over
mind
the
that,
top.
to be honest. That'd be kind of hilarious.
Yeah, just turn it into a Blink-182 song.
Yeah, shout out Billy Lucci.
Yeah, which we're gonna get to.
All right, up to the Big Ten. Northwestern, man, it continues to be chaos up there. 8 former Northwestern football players have retained noted civil rights attorneys and are suing. They've filed lawsuits against the university for physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. Obviously, we were talking last week about Pat Fitzgerald ended up being fired. This is just getting crazier and crazier with the hazing incident that took place.
And they fired the baseball coach.
And baseball.
What's going on up there?
This is out of hand.
Like it's just so tough to bounce back. Like, how do you think, like, if you're the coach that takes over, right? That's why, like, what I think Bill O'Brien did at Penn State was incredible with what happened in that awful, just horrible situation. And obviously this is a little bit different than that. But if you're the new coach at Northwestern and you go into a living room to recruit a kid and you're like, yeah, and the parent's like, well, you're coming off this sexual abuse or, dry humping abuse scandal. Like, how do you dance around that one?
They say, well, we got rid of the mask part.
Yeah, it's like now we just turn off the lights and we just parade around. This is the weirdest.
Weirder and weirder.
Guys, we've been in locker rooms like our whole life. Funny stuff happens. You make sexual jokes in locker rooms, right?
What?
But nobody ritualizes.
How dare you?
What?
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
disgusting.
you literally-
You know what?
You're
Get my lawyer. This is
I'm waiting to hire Johnny
right
Cochran.
now.
No, but like this is just flat out weird. Like you're ritualizing it. Who does this?
strange. This is strange. I don't get it. I'm gonna call Future and turn on the
Like
lights.
has anybody checked on Michael Wilbon and Greeny from ESPN? Are those guys all right?
I don't know.
This is just a weird deal, man.
It's turning into a 30 for 30 on.
Oh, it's
on
already
the
being
center.
made.
It might be already.
Oh, it's already being made.
It might already be on Netflix when we get home.
Yeah, 30 for 30. I'm not saying that.
Don't say
I'm
it.
not.
Come
I'm
on.
not saying it.
Come on.
I got a great title for it, but I'm not saying it. Not saying it. Now I'll think about it and then
Okay.
maybe say it
All right,
later.
good.
All right, 2 more here. Next one up, our boy Charles Barkley. He defends Bud Light, first off, and then he slams Dylan Mulvaney critics as rednecks and a-holes. Chuck, it never stops with Chuck.
Was he even hanging out with Garth Brooks or something?
I think him and Garth Brooks opened a new bar.
What?
I think that's what
I'm
it
so
was.
sick of talking about this. Like,
How much they paying you, Charles?
yeah.
He was laughing,
how much?
saying, hey, y'all can't cancel me.
Like, see, I
ain't
think
worried
he's
about
trying
getting
to.
canceled.
I think Charles is just now trying to get canceled, but he's uncancelable. I think he's just making bets. Like, what is the thing I can say that they would have to cancel me?
Yeah.
And he's just like, and you can't do it. I'm not mad at Charles.
He said, I got 3 cases of Bud Light. I want y'all to drink this effing beer.
How much?
Oh,
How
yeah.
much?
Charles, see if someone sees you in the bar drinking Bud Light, Charles.
Yeah, I want to see.
Go
This.
out and drink Bud Light.
I want to
Charles.
see this.
I haven't seen it. I haven't heard about it. Any
About
pictures out
this.
there? Huh? A lot of people saying stuff but not doing stuff, Charles.
It's like
You got to drink a Bud Light in your bar. See how it goes.
treating them terrible.
Oh, boy. All right, last one. Did y'all see this Alabama fan who got his birthday cake?
Oh yeah.
You see
Run
this?
this. They put the LSU colors in the cake.
This is how much it means.
Yeah. Plus,
First of all,
it's not a good
first off,
start.
if you're starting with the knife like that,
I don't like the way he's
I wouldn't be
looking at that.
pulling
Yeah.
pranks on this guy with the knife. Like
He's looking like he's thinking about a lot of stuff. Look at that.
yeah, that guy to the left. I don't feel safe for him. Let's play the clip. Look at him. You got the Alabama cake. He's wearing the Alabama shirt. I feel like he knows something's up.
Yeah.
He cuts into it. Smash the cake.
No way. That cake actually looks pretty good, to be honest. Kind of blew it.
That's actually great. That's actually great, right? I mean, that's what they expected, but it wasn't like it was an accident. But you know what? That cake was probably pretty good.
Why you ruin a man's birthday?
I bet it was pretty good.
Why you ruin a man's birthday like that?
He was wearing all Bama.
It's about him.
Just for his birthday
It's his day.
party.
Can we just not have a day?
You don't like a good prank?
Not on my birthday, all right? No, I don't.
It's the best time to do it.
No, don't prank me on my birthday. You know what, dude? I want the prank to be you giving me things. That's what I want it to be.
Like, so then pretend to give you things and there's nothing in there?
No, just like giving me things. Like, even if that's a prank. My prank today is just going to give you things, Blaine. You're going to ruin my cake. You know, look how stoked he was for that. He basically committed to Bama that day.
He did.
His
That
hat's
was
on
like
the
a
table.
commitment video.
His hat's on the table and you do that. It's like the mom walking out with her son and go to the right school.
You talking about Landon
Was that
Collins' mom?
I thought, was that him or Ha Ha
Yeah.
Clinton Dix?
Oh, wait. That
Might have been both. Who knows?
Yeah, I think
One of them. His mom walked out.
Man, I'm pretty sure it was Landon Collins. Ended up working out for him.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, Mom, you can't come over now.
Here's your new house, Mom.
Yeah, here's your new house.
All right, that's all I got, boys.
All right, let's get back to the Booster Club.
So to Con Air Ron, what's up, buddy? Crain and Co. should set up a tailgate tent at SEC Media Days parking lot and grill Good Ranchers beef and serve it to Feinbaum the coaches and the media.
Doesn't that sound like the greatest idea that's
Set it up.
constructed?
God, after reading that, man, this makes me so hungry. Let's go to Mike and him. He says, Brock Bowers is dreading today. He's such an introvert and honestly has no idea how good he is. It'll be fun, but he's going to be so uncomfortable.
Yeah, but I mean, Brock's gotten so much pub since he's been at Georgia. Look, I can't wait to ask Kirby a question about football. How many questions is it going to take? Let's over-under, all right? Over-under how many questions it takes for the media to ask Kirby a football question. Because you know it's going to be all off-the-field stuff.
6.5.
You're probably about right. That's probably about where Vegas would set. I would take the over in that. And I want to make a point. We talked about this with Rusty Manziel yesterday, and we're going to drop this interview at some point. But we have to understand, number one, holding a school or a coach accountable for something somebody does after they leave is ridiculous. I don't hold USC accountable for what O.J. Simpson allegedly did, right? I don't hold Florida responsible for what Aaron Hernandez did when he was at the Patriots. Now, I know he did a lot of nefarious stuff at Florida, all right, but some of this stuff happened when they were gone. Like, I'm not responsible for you forever. I'm not your parent, okay? I'm responsible for you when you come into the school, as long as you're there, and then you leave, and the rest is on you, right? And yes, I have a hand in preparing you, okay, but I'm not responsible for everything that happens after that. I'm not responsible for what you do when you're 63 and get arrested for wire fraud, okay? But we have to understand the difference between culture. Two, people say, oh, well, Georgia has a bad culture. Okay, you can't have an awful culture and leadership and win the way that Georgia is winning. Now, there's a difference in culture in the practice field, in the locker room, during the game, during meetings, and when somebody is driving home to go see their parents. Okay, and again, I'm not saying that Georgia and Kirby Smart and them don't share in any of the blame of some of the stuff that's gone on. I get that. But if the amount of people that have come and spoke to that team about speeding, the amount of pictures that have been shown to that team about what happens when you speed and you do stupid things in a car, at some point, it is on the individual. But to say that Georgia has a culture problem in that locker room, I would love for my team to have the type leadership that Georgia has that you can see permeate on the practice field, in the meeting room, in the locker room, and during the game. So we have to be able to look at things thoroughly and not just say, oh, well, Kirby Smart just doesn't care about what happens to these kids. That's a lazy take. It's a casual take. And it's a take where if you've never been inside a locker room, then you'll probably have.
And another aspect of this is the media stories get exacerbated once you've had some success.
That's exactly
now, the incident that happened earlier in the year where 2 lives were lost, obviously that's going to be a big story and should be a big story. No matter what school, no matter where it happens, because it is a tragedy. But I'm saying when you see reports after that, oh, this other player was also going 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, and this player was going 15 miles an hour over the speed limit. Clearly, they do have some sort of problem that they're working out right now in Athens, but also that becomes front page news in a way that it wouldn't at a school that's not back-to-back national champions.
That's exactly right.
All right, let's go to 13 L's. He says, I love some college football tailgating. Hashtag Ask Crain and Company. Which school do you think throws it down the hardest when it comes to tailgating?
LSU.
Louisiana State Tigers.
You're welcome. Not even close.
Not even close.
No.
Not even close.
No. Ole Miss has never lost a party, but come on, man. Yeah, Did you see the Jello shot challenge, like you said, in Omaha?
I was there.
I mean, there's more Jello than OnlyFans.
You were there?
I was, yeah, y'all weren't?
You went without us?
Yeah, I did. Love you guys, though.
And went without your mustache.
It always
Why
be
does
your
this
own.
keep coming back? Why does
It
this
always
keep
be
coming
your
back?
own.
It looks like you're growing it out over there, huh? Oh, look at him now.
Is a mustache a mustache if the beard comes with it, though?
No,
Or do you
it's
have to
not.
shave the
Just have to-
beard?
You just
You have to shave the beard. Cone, I think you look good with a mustache, man.
Yeah, I think so, too.
I think you should let it ride.
You should do it. You won't let it
You
ride.
should let it ride.
Let's go to Sasha. Hot take. Vandy could totally make a bowl game this year. I see it in their future.
I don't think that's that crazy.
go.
It feels like it might.
Let's go.
8-win season?
I was looking at Missouri's schedule yesterday.
Uh-oh.
Could they start 4-1?
They could.
Missouri?
Yeah. Kansas State, that's going to be tough at home. I think game 3.
South Dakota, Middle Tennessee, Kansas State, Memphis. I mean, Memphis.
Memphis at home? Or is that
Neutral site.
Neutral site.
Yeah.
Watch
Let's
out.
go to Heartbroken Hog. Hashtag Ask Crain and Company. Have y'all sat down with anyone from Arkansas yet? I believe Arkansas's later in the week.
Yeah, they're later in the week. So the way they do it is, you obviously have media members there, but they bring in 3 coaches and they bring 3 players with them. Arkansas hasn't gone yet, so we're excited to see Sam Pittman and the crew. Big year for them. At some point, you got to break through, man. The honeymoon ends at some point. Believe me, I know.
Let's go to Peter Abraham. He says, laughable that A&M will win the West, but you have Auburn in the poll question. That brings me to the poll question. Who will win the SEC West? Auburn, LSU, Alabama, or other?
That's
Very
a good
interesting.
one.
Very interesting. All right, that's a great segue. Let's get into a little bit of Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
Yeah, talked to Billy Lucci yesterday. We're going to run that interview here in a minute. But Bobby Petrino, Jimbo Fisher, there was a quote yesterday at SEC Media Day when he was asked about the play calling, and he kind of danced around the question. Let's go ahead and say, I don't know if we can pull that quote up. But he basically said that Bobby Petrino's a tremendous guy, alluded to the fact that basically he'll be calling the plays. But I'm going to be honest with you. You want to know when we're going to know who's calling the plays? First big third down against Miami. That's when we're going to know. All right, at least you'd hope. You hope you wouldn't be over there struggling, at the end of your rope in New Mexico and before you go down there, obviously to Coral Gables. But when you look at this A&M team, and I said this yesterday, I think Garrett Riley and I think Bobby Petrino were the 2 best coordinator hires of the offseason. I really do believe that. Bobby Petrino, and it's like being a chef, right? Like when you can focus on just what you're best at, it's like being a chef that prepares all these really good meals, but there's always that one meal you make best, right? It's the one that you're the best at.
Chicken Parmesan.
Let's say it's chicken Parmesan.
Chicken
Great
Parm.
example. This is Bobby Petrino's chicken Parmesan.
Parming it
right?
up, babe.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, guess what? You just got an invitation to be on Iron Chef. You're competing against these guys. Guess what I'm making? Chicken Parm. All right? That's what I'm making.
Automatic dub.
This is what he does best. Now, why do you say that? And why do I think Bobby Petrino is actually legitimately going to call the plays? Because when you look at the way he is formationally, he's a genius. He calls plays to set up other plays. He utilizes every third of the field, the short, the intermediate, and the deep third, and he knows how to attack you. He knows what he's looking at. He's seen every pressure. He's seen every coverage. He's seen every run stunt. He's seen every front. He's seen every box look, and he knows how to adjust. But the biggest thing that Bobby Petrino has going for him, and I mentioned this about Nick Saban, is that he evolves with the time offensively. You have some coaches, like guys that play the stock market, that figure something out, and they never adjust as the defense catches up, because defenses always catch up. It is a moving target as an offensive coordinator and as a defensive coordinator. You have to evolve. You have to keep adding tools to your bag. Just like getting older as a player, you have to keep finding ways to be better. So when you look at tempo, we hear A&M, the players talk about, hey, the tempo they're going at, it's changing. Bobby Petrino's adopted that. Pitching backwards, throwing on early downs. You look at having a guy like Connor Wegman and Max Johnson, 2 very capable players. I think Connor's going to win the job, but I think they're going to have an unbelievably capable backup in Max Johnson. And if Max wins it, hell, you got a guy with a ton of experience that's played a lot. But when you look at Bobby Petrino, he has every answer to every question. And if anybody can get this team back to where they need to be offensively, it's him. And he does believe in physicality. He does believe in balance. Balance keeps your ass on the beam. You want to know how you beat teams? You beat them with balance. You don't beat them with one thing. You beat them with versatility. It's the best tility out of all the tilities. So when it comes to Bobby Petrino, if I'm an A&M fan, I told Billy Lucci this yesterday, my biggest worry isn't that the offense isn't going to cook this year. It's what happens after the offense cooks this year and somebody comes and snatches his ass up.
I agree.
That's my biggest worry if I'm an A&M fan.
So when asked if Bobby Petrino will call plays, Jimbo Fisher said, I'm not going to get into that. Then he got into it a little bit.
Then he got into it.
Bobby was hired for a reason. Tremendous guy, tremendous football mind. Hopefully he'll call the game and have suggestions. Again, just talking around in circles a little bit and said, I'm not going to get into the schematics of what we're going to do this season. I don't know why it's so difficult just to say, yeah, I brought in a new offensive coordinator and he's going to call the plays, and that's the end of the story.
We don't want your playbook. Just asking if he's calling the plays. I don't need the schematic.
Yeah. I'm not asking what you're dialing up on 3rd and 8 against 2.
I need you to take the blame for if it doesn't work.
I think you made a great point yesterday, which was, we've asked from the very beginning, is this going to be a 1-year experiment, right? But first of all, we have to have that year.
Yeah.
What's going to happen on that first third down against Miami when you're on the road? And if it goes bad, right, that's bad. But if it goes really, really good, then it's going to be a 1-year experiment for Bobby Petrino. But I think Texas A&M fans are like, look, we just need it to go good first. Please. We'll deal with that later, which is the right answer on that front. So I don't know exactly why Jimbo Fisher won't just come out and say, hey, Bobby Petrino is going to be calling all the offensive plays. But one way or another, we're going to find out soon enough.
Yeah, and everybody always jumps to the ego thing, right? It's like, oh, well, these egos are going to clash. I'm going to give you a hint. All these guys have egos. Now, there's levels to it, right? There's levels, but all these guys have egos, and egos clash all the time. But on a headset during a game when you're calling plays, it's not just the offensive coordinator says, all right, here's the play. This is what we're running. Here you go, guys. Sometimes it happens like that, but typically they ask, hey, what do you like here? What are you seeing? What do you think we should, hey, make sure you're looking here on this play so we can set it up for down the road. There's a lot of back and forth. So Jimbo and Bobby Petrino, they need each other. They need to use each other. Those are two great resources to have. Two offensive minds that have seen a lot of ball, that have installed a lot of plays, a lot of systems. They made a lot of adjustments at halftime. The biggest role outside of play calling that a coordinator has on both sides of the ball, actually all three, including special teams, is also adjusting at halftime. Being able to go in there and say, hey, listen, this is working. This isn't working. Why is this working? Why isn't this working? What do we have in the bag? What's on the play call sheet that we like? There's so much more that goes into it than, all right, here's what we got, guys. We're going to go 28 laser, Y-stick rocket on 2. Here we go. There's so much more that goes into that. So much more that goes into that.
Well, yeah, I'm interested to see, if it's not going great. It's a Miami game. It's 3rd and 7. We can't get a first down. We're going into halftime. It's not gonna go. When is Jimbo going to get pissed? And be like, you know what? I got it. And just start how long is that leash on Bobby? Because sooner or later, if it's not going, we've seen him when it comes to Jimbo. He'll say, "That's fine, I'll do it. Then he'll go back to everything on my shoulders. I'm going to be the guy who does every little thing, call the plays. And then Bobby, what do you do if you're Bobby? The mesh, the mesh between the guys, which I think will go good. But if it's unsuccessful early, I'm going to see who Jimbo turns into.
Mm-hmm.
Well, which is only going to make good, though.
Which is only going to make Bobby Petrino angrier. I mean, this is a guy who's most of the play calling he's done has been as the head coach. Yeah. This guy's been a head coach in the NFL. Yeah. It's not just like some young kid who's come.
There's something to be said. The head coach is the man in charge. We know that. Jimbo's running that program. But there's something to be said to have somebody on staff with the cachet to be able to say no. We don't need to do this. I don't think we need to do this. There's so many guys that are just yes men in there that the coach says, hey, we should do this. And they're like, yeah, that's brilliant. That's the smartest thing. I had a head coach one time, and I was a young guy, come in, running the special teams, said, hey, what if on punt return, we dropped everybody back like on kickoff return and set it up like a kickoff return? And he drew this up, and it looked really, really good. And I'm sitting there looking at it, and part of me as a young coach wanted to say, that's a brilliant idea, coach. That's a fantastic idea. We should do that. But nobody was forcing the punt. All the punter had to do was everybody was dropping back. You always force the punt. I always force the punt with at least 2 guys. Mm-hmm. Even if it's one guy's at the shield steady and another one's holding, chipping, getting off, and then looking for the fake really on the other side because you can have the guy in the shield play one side or the other. I had to say, coach, I love what you're thinking, but we have nobody to force the punt. And you know what? He looked at me and said, that's exactly right. He's like, thank you for saying that. At some point, you have to have somebody on there. And it's not saying no just to say no. You better have a damn good reason if you're going to tell the head coach not to do something. But having somebody like a Bobby Petrino on that staff that can say, listen, coach, I don't think we need to do this. And here's why, that Jimbo can look at and say, you know what? I get that. I understand that. That is a huge deal. And not, people say, why do you keep holdovers from, you need to have somebody that's from the place where you're coaching that can tell you kind of how the people are, what you really can do, what you really can't do if you haven't been there before. And then somebody on staff who can say, coach, listen, schematically or philosophically, we don't need to do this. There's something to be said for that.
Well, we're talking a lot about the Jimbo Fisher, Bobby Petrino relationship in game and when it comes to play calling. One thing we're not talking a lot about, what about even before then in fall camp over the question of whether who should be the starter or not? I mean, what if we have a situation where Jimbo Fisher does want to go with someone like Connor Wegman, like he did Haynes King last year, someone who has a lot of upside and who can be mobile, and Bobby Petrino comes in and says, no, look, Max Johnson over here can be very consistent and stable. What if you have a disagreement in fall camp over who should get the start?
Well, I mean, I think they'll work it out, and at the end of the day, Jimbo's going to make that call. That's when it comes to personnel. It's funny. Coaches get all up in arms about two things: scheme and personnel, right? Like, this guy needs to start, this guy doesn't need to start, we need to run this, we don't need to run that. But it seems to me that at the end of the day, personnel to the head coach is the thing that he has the most power in doing, outside of recruiting, which falls under personnel, in my opinion. But when it comes down to the starting quarterback, the head coach, at the end of the day, if there's a disagreement, and Bobby Petrino understands this, he can go in there and hit the table and say, listen, this needs to be the guy. This is why he needs to be the guy. And if Jimbo says, listen, Bobby, I appreciate what you're saying. You may end up being right, but I think we need to go with Connor. I think it would end up being Jimbo making the call on that one. But it's a good thought. But speaking about making the call, are you like millions of Americans, men and women, dealing with premature hair thinning? Listen, don't be scared. We're all friends here. All right, we're in the trust tree. You don't want to be walking around with thin hair. Maybe you just got back in the Dayton game. Maybe you're trying to fall into L again. All right, but you want to have that nice head of hair, or you're trying to get out in front of it, right? You're seeing all of a sudden in the shower, you got a couple more falling out. Hey, guess what? Our friends at Provia, they can help you have a game plan about getting the best head of hair that you really want. And there's a real solution that delivers on its promise without the harsh side effects, unwanted chemicals, or unpleasant smells. That's Provia, Provia. These are safe, natural ingredient called Procapil. I believe I said that right. Blaine, talk to people about, you don't want to be going bald out here. You can't do it.
You can't do it, especially if you're in the game. I mean, # married to the game. You got to walk in at least with a head of hair.
Yeah.
Or you have to work that much harder. You know what I'm saying?
You better be rich.
How funny do you want to be today? How many jokes do you have rackled in that head? All right, Did you plan out the whole situation? What are we doing on line 4 when she says this? How are we reacting? You don't have to react different if you look like Mr. Clean with a mop in your hand.
Yeah, it's like everybody can invent Pop-Tarts, dog.
Like, come on, walking in with a leg up, half hair.
You need to walk in there with a good head of hair. I'm talking about just waving it.
Yeah, I'm talking Troy Polamalu.
Yeah. What do you think, David?
Dave, you have a beautiful head hair. I don't think I've ever seen the hair move
on top of your head.
It's just,
you know why? Because I use Provia.
That's right.
Whoa, there it is. All right, Provia supports healthy scalp circulation, and they deliver nourishing nutrients to strengthen hair follicles. All right, so take advantage of Provia's exclusive introductory summer package at proviahair.com/booster. That's PROVIA.com/booster, and then enter promo code booster at checkout for an extra discount on your order. We're helping you save twice, really 3 times, because your hair is going to grow back. So see results for yourself right now. Don't wait. That's proviahair.com/booster. Get back in the game, because it's a hairy situation. All right, we got Billy Lucci coming up. Really excited to talk with him over at TexAgs. Got a lot of A&M. We're going to get back to the Booster Club. Unless, Blaine, there's something you want to throw at me right now quickly.
Let's go to Swanee.
Swanee.
All right, I don't know if I can throw it at you, but I can read it to you.
Okay.
I don't want me to hit you with an iPad. Texas A&M and Aggie Nation are excited about returning to mediocrity when it comes to Petrino in 2023. They'll win one big game that keeps Jimbo's job and head to Shreveport for the Independence Bowl.
Which game is it? Is it Bama at home?
Swanee. Swanee's my fellow Rangers fan.
It's a dandelion nettle blend.
Don't get me started with you. All right, please
don't get you started.
Let's go to Zach Wilson. All right, see how he's doing. Is he still with the Jets? Where is he?
I don't know. He said Aaron Rodgers helping him out a lot.
No. All right, he says,
watching the game.
So talking to my buddy last night, he's a big-time Gators fan. He said the Boosters are willing to give Napier time to recruit a championship-caliber team.
Okay.
And they're smart. I think Scott Strickland is the AD as well. I went through this earlier. I'm not going to go through the whole spiel. Give the man time to cultivate the culture. You see what he's doing in recruiting. We know what Florida can do. This schedule's brutal this year. Next year, it's even worse. But you know what? What did they used to say on pirate ships? Look, we get through the choppy waters. We're going to get to the treasure. Florida just has to get through those choppy waters. All right? You're like George Clooney right now in a perfect storm. You're like, going up the wave. We got to get over
mutiny.
it.
Sometimes there's a mutiny and they make you walk the plank. By the time you get to the treasure.
You can't do what their boat did and then go underneath it. You got to go over the wave.
It's a lot easier to say that now, like before the season started, but like when it's week 8 and you barely
that's the hardest time.
And it's 31-0 at halftime against Georgia. We'll see how these come.
It's like dieting.
You strand
it's like
Jack
dieting.
Sparrow
and you say you're not going to eat past 7 o'clock at night, and then 8:30 hits, and your mother-in-law made cupcakes, and you're just staring at them.
Now I'm getting hungry.
We already did the Good Ranchers ad. I'm already hungry. Yeah. So like at this point, I'm playing with house money.
Let's go to No Fun League Sports Channel. Sounds like no fun. Let's go to Jimbo and he says Jimbo and Bobby might start wrestling on the 3rd down, just trying to get each other's calls in.
No, I think they're going to have the communication down, but I would pay good money to be on those headsets.
To be on the headset.
I would pay good money. Really, if you wanted to make a ton of money and you like for NIL for your school, put a channel in where you can pay $69.99 a game to listen to that headset.
I don't think we want to listen. I got to be on the headset.
People would be shocked.
Ones, man.
No, like how shocked? Honestly, guys, y'all know how shocked would people be at the things you want to hear grown men talk to each other in a way that you just never expected. But I would love to hear like Dave Aranda and Baylor, because you know what I think it sound like? I think it sound like this.
There's nothing on there, yeah.
That's what I think it sound like.
12.
But on other ones, you really have 2 type of coaches. You have ones that panic all the time, even when they don't need to, and then ones that don't panic. Those are the 2 type of coaches. I've seen both of them. The panickers, boy, they're Jodie Foster, man. They just run to the room and shut the door and start screaming over little stuff. We were up like 45-10 one time with like 4 minutes to go, and we called in punt safe. We're like, safe, just send the returner in, let's run the nose out. And we ended up with 12 guys on the field because when the backups ran in, coach just freaks out. Just absolutely freaking out. And everybody's kind of looking around like, God, wait, man, calm down. You're scaring everybody.
Speaking of freaking out, let's go to Griffin Bailey. You got something to say, Cody?
I was just going to say I was on the headset for a Michigan team that won 3 games.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh.
I wake up with nightmares.
It's like my headset's not working today, Coach.
Hey, Coach, it's not working anymore. Here, you have it.
Please, God, hope mine's muted.
Let's go to Griffin Bailey. How do we feel about Mississippi State this year? And where do y'all think Will Rogers ranks in this year's SEC Cubs?
Well, what?
Cubs?
Cubs?
QBs?
Oh.
Cubs?
God, I know what you meant there. I think we're not talking about Will Rogers enough, and I hear people say, oh, well, man, they're not in the air raid anymore, so Will Rogers not going to be in that good of a situation. Well, here's what people don't understand. That was the most, and I love Mike Leach, but that's a very predictable offense. You're throwing the ball most of the time. What do people do? They drop 8. That's what they drop 8. Yeah. And Will, you get to throw it 50 times, that's great, but having a legitimate run game is going to lead to more, and having some unpredictability and having some balance, to bring that word back up again, I think is going to let Will Rogers have more big plays down the field, let Mississippi State have more big plays down the field. I think it's better for Will Rogers. Will he have more completions? No, because he's not going to throw it 100 times a game. Will he have more yards? Probably not, but I think they'll have more big plays at the end of the day. So remember I said that. All right, speaking of big plays, let's get to Billy Lucci from TexAgs, talk a little bit more A&M. Then we're going to have our top 5 uniforms and our worst uniforms. Wait till you see mine. It's going to make you puke because it looks like puke. Let's run it.
All right, we are here at SEC Media Days 2023 in Nashville. It's a home game, and we're living it up. And we're very honored to be joined by the voice of A&M. I don't care what anybody says. Billy Lucci from TexAgs, good friend of the show, great human being in general. Billy, thanks for joining us, my friend.
Always, man. You know I love this. I look forward to this every year or whenever y'all call. So
for sure,
it's one of the fun ones we do. Right?
That's exactly right. We keep it real as possible here.
I already talked to you today, and I haven't seen them in a year.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Big news. You're in Blink 182 now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I did join the band officially.
Yeah. That is pretty sick.
I might leave. I think their tour is over as of last night, or I'd be probably being a roadie right now.
Yeah,
it beats the ups and downs of covering SEC football.
100%.
Look, I was a big Blink 182 guy growing up. Where are you? Dying just to see you. I want to start, Billy. Thank you. I appreciate that. I want to start with the guy to my left. He keeps trashing Texas A&M.
That's
he
what
just
you
can't
said.
stop it. Billy, he can't stop it.
true.
And look, I'm not a trends guy. Look at the show this morning. The dude can't help it.
That's fine. I said nothing but facts.
No, I'm not a trends guy. I think every year is different. I think we fall in the trap of, look, some things happen similarly over time, but every team is different. Every circumstance is different. Every year is different. What to you can make this year different for Texas A&M?
I think first and foremost, most people, the first thing you'd say is, oh, what impact is Bobby Petrino going to have on the offense? I think I'm going to start, though, with experience. I think this was a football team that they had so many 18 and in some instances 17-year-olds playing in the defensive trenches last year in the SEC. I remember they beat Arkansas. Two of the kids came in to do NIL interviews the next week with me. They were both, I found out during the interviews, they were both 17.
Yeah.
They played against Arkansas, and they won. Arkansas had a bunch of fourth and fifth year guys, grown SEC men. A&M, not anywhere close to that in the trenches. You had 3 quarterbacks that played. The guy that finished was playing his first 4 games ever of college football. That was the case really across the board. True freshman receivers, true freshman tight end, defensive backs. So I think experience, number one. They played a ton. I think the second thing would be, you talk about different year, different season. Going into the offseason, beating LSU the way they did and ending on that note, it wasn't so much that, hey, we won our last game, therefore we'll be good the next year. But it was, and you and I talked about this, did we get away from how Texas A&M needs to win games?
Yeah.
Which is line up, run the football, take shots down the field off play action, and just play with a hard-nosed winner's mentality, what I call an SEC West mentality. That's, for some reason, they got away from that, like, roll-up-your-sleeves work ethic. So I think just from talking to players, this offseason has been night and day different from the last 2 in terms of participation, the voluntary stuff, the 7-on, the O-line, D-line working. And then just from talking to people inside the program, just the culture, the energy. I think they got rid of some of the guys they needed to get rid of. So much was made about that transfer portal.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that were in that portal were kicked off the team after what happened at South Carolina. 3 of the 4 biggest ones were the ones that got suspended after that game for what they did. And a lot, like, that was not, it was a culture change was needed. And maybe the NIL thing caught up too fast. And, to me, I think the culture is number 2. And then the third thing is Petrino. I mean, let's be honest. I think the dude's a hell of a hire. And I think contrary to what the local and even to some degree the national college football media wants to say, Jimbo Fisher, and I hope it comes off today. I hope he can just make people understand what I know to be true. He did this. Anybody that tells you that A&M donors made him do that doesn't. They think they know and they don't. They had one jackass tell him that, and they think, well, that guy's a big donor and he said it, so it must be true. I've got the entirety on my speed dial. I know no one made him make that change. He did that because he knew that the offense needed some life injected. So we're hoping, in College Station that's the case because, as you know, and as he's apparently been saying,
don't.
Hey, but I know.
Don't run from it now. Don't run from it because
I know what he's doing. I know what he's doing.
Thank you.
But with that said, I think, it's a fine line. You mentioned 9 earlier with me, and I kind of am on the same page. It's a fine line between 9 and 7 or even 6. I mean, the difference for A&M in like a 10-win season and a 6-6 year even, it's like,
it's 7 to 10 plays.
It's 4.
Yeah,
it's one drive in 4 games.
Yeah. Well, I've said. I mean, you look at A&M. There haven't been that many 17 and 18-year-olds in the trenches since World War I, and you expect that growth, right? Because that's where the game's won and lost. How did Nick Saban get Alabama to where he was? up front. Georgia, same way. Michigan, same way. Baylor and Oklahoma State being physical in the in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Utah being physical in the Pac-12. That's where the game's won and lost. But Billy, the Bobby Petrino angle to me is fascinating, and it's multi-pronged. I think it shows you how bad Jimbo wants to win, is that he's willing to bring in a guy, and everybody has a big ego at this level. If you think it's just, well, this guy has a big ego, this guy doesn't, they all have big egos. Sam Pittman has big egos. People just show it differently. But what I like about the Petrino hire, because I think him and Garrett Riley were the two best offseason coordinator hires. I've continued to say that, and I think you're going to see the difference there, is what he does formationally, his quarterback development, and the way he calls plays to set up other plays down the line. I think you're going to get a really mixed bag. He'll pitch backwards in some games. He'll give you kind of peanut butter and jelly early in other games. When you look at this offense, do you think Connor Wegman, because I do, has the ability to blossom under Petrino with the weapons like Anais Smith, with Evan Stewart, with the Moose and the young core that they have outside? All the pieces are there, and I think Connor can do it.
Yeah, I think Connor, there is part of me, and I know coaches hate this, and it makes it hard when you're competing with a Max Johnson, who you've got tape on from a whole season as a starter at LSU. Connor's got to win that job in practice, and I think spring was pretty even. He's got to win it in August. Do I think he will? Yes. Do I think he's the future of the position at A&M? Yes. I think he has a chance to be. People forget Wigman's a 5-star number 2 dual threat in the country.
He can run.
Who can run, and people don't know that yet. But he's more of a I'm not saying he's Pat Mahomes, although the guy in his that's been coaching in that district in Greater Houston forever said that's the next best. He's the next coming.
Really?
He runs, guys, much better than he showed last year. Remember, when he was playing last year, he was the only scholarship quarterback left. So they told him not to run as much as he could. Connor is not a Johnny scrambler. He's not going to get you it generally by design, although they'll do some design runs. Connor just has a great feel of when the pressure's coming, and as a quarterback, you understand the importance of this, right? When the pressure's coming, just subtly take a couple steps, slide up, back, which way to go. But what he does is he escapes the pocket looking to throw. And he gets rid of it like that. And that's not coachable. That was from day one. That's the first thing that impressed him. But he'll take off like Mahomes when it's really there and when he has to. He's not going to do it 12, 15 times a game. He might do it 5 or 6 times a game, but he'll kill you on that. And if you go back and watch the LSU game, I think he had 2 or 3 of those where he's out running Harold Perkins for the sticks on 3rd and 8, and that's where I think people underestimate what he can do. And it's a feel thing. It's an instinct thing. And I think he's got all those little intangibles.
Yeah,
so
got to know when to say when.
I want to talk about Jimbo Fisher for a minute. All right.
Yeah.
Hadn't had a 10-win season.
Yeah.
I think Texas A&M hadn't had a 10-win season at Sumlin.
No.
Wait. Can I say something?
Go,
Of course.
please.
And you tell me if I'm wrong here.
Please.
The year they went 9-1, everybody's doing that and they're saying COVID. Then we're not counting Bama's national title.
That's what I say every time.
Let's take that away.
I would love to take that away. I agree. 100%.
But they were 9-1 that year, and here's the thing. They replaced on the schedule Fresno State at home and Colorado at home, and I think like Abilene Christian with Florida, who was top 5 when they came in here, and on the road in Knoxville. They weren't any good, but on the road in Knoxville versus Fresno State at home. Had they played that other schedule, they're 12-1.
For sure.
And so if you want to tell me they've only had one like noteworthy year so far under him, I would totally agree with you. So, anyway,
yeah, we can do that. That's
one thing
fine.
I keep saying
That's
to
fine. But you see, you kind of
because all the Longhorn haters.
Oh yeah. Trust
Paul
me, there are
does that
plenty
a
of them.
lot.
Texas is back.
I'm
every
loving
year,
this, by
trust
the
me.
way. I just want everybody to know.
You see Brian Kelly coming to have
Yeah.
success his first year. You see what Heupel did.
Yeah.
All right. If you're Coach Fisher right now, because you have the talent, you for sure have the talent. What's your messaging to the team? To keep everything locked, to play how we should play. You bring in Bobby Petrino. I'm interested to see that mesh as well.
Yeah.
Those two guys. I'd like to get your input on that. But what do you think the messaging is from Fisher to his team?
I think it's got to be, and I know Jimbo would be the first one, and I know this actually, and I don't know if he'd sit here. There's something different about Jimbo and Mike where he'll get defensive or he'll dig in, and But the reality is he knows better than anybody. Like, that dude is so pissed and disappointed in what happened last year and even the year before that they didn't build on that one year. When they did finish in the top 5, then they went and signed the number 1, but they didn't build on that. So he knows, like, dude, they ain't paying me to come here and do that.
Yeah.
He would be the first one to say that. So I think the messaging to his team is similar. You guys didn't come here to go lose 7 games. You came here to do what you did the last time you took the field against LSU. Like, we got more than enough talent here
100%.
to win whatever. They'll say every game. I mean, they don't play Georgia. Bama's coming to Kyle Field. They beat Bama on the last play 2 years ago. They lost to them on the last play this year. So the common thread will be, well, Milroe played. Bryce Young didn't. Well, welcome to the SEC.
Absolutely.
Beat Arkansas. with-
Who finishes the year with your quarterback?
Yeah.
You know, so to me, like, that would be my message. Like, you guys didn't come here and pass up everywhere you passed up. You came to A&M to win championships. That's why they hired me. If we're not doing that and we're not competing for that, then we're not doing what we should do. And so we need to remember what happened the last time y'all took the field, but also remember what happened against App State. Remember what happened at South Carolina when you just said, here are 17 points to start the game. Now let us try to come back. Remember what happened at Auburn against an interim coach when that whole crowd overwhelmed you and you guys no-show. Don't forget that, but also remember what happened last time you took the field. We can beat freaking anybody. And that would be my message.
I love it. I'm gassed up.
Shocked to be a coach.
Yes, I'm gassed up right now.
Oh, screw Bobby Petrino. No Billy Lucci.
You know what I want to ask? I want to ask him a question. Can we get A&M Michigan on the non-conference slate?
You know that.
Like, I was
about
love
to ask
that.
you a non-conference schedule.
That's
Look,
my number 1 home and home. That or Penn State.
How much fun would that be? Home and home, College Station, and Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Can you and I pull some strings? And when I say that, I mean you pull some strings.
It'd be
They don't
amazing.
listen to me anymore.
A&M played Michigan in a 95 Alamo Bowl. And I actually had a conversation years later with none other than Tom Brady about it. He was redshirting. It was Brian Greasy. Charles Woodson won the Heisman. He got knocked out of the game early he was tackling, hurt his shoulder. Biaka Batuka was the tailback. Michigan had Toomer at receiver, Mercury Hayes. The Aggies had the prime time wrecking crew.
Why does that just feel right, though?
They
Why
had
does A&M
Dante
Michigan-
Hall,
Oh,
Dat Win, all bunch of names. You guys would
Who
still
won that
remember.
one?
A&M, close game. It was a good game.
Rats.
Yeah,
I remember it. So
yeah, exactly.
that preceded my fandom.
But Brady was a redshirt. He named every guy on that A&M defense. He's like, you guys had that when you had Ray Mickens, Reggie Brown, and I'm like, dude, this
Now,
dude
why am I
was
not-
Michigan has a little work to do in the non-conference schedule. It's something that we've been knocking them on
Really?
the last couple seasons. But with USC and UCLA both coming to the Big Ten, that's going to take care of that a little bit. And Notre Dame refuses to play us. That's always been one of the best non-conference games. Which brings me to my question for you. Week 2, September 9th, Texas A&M Jimbo and the boys go to Dade County to play Miami.
Yeah.
How much improved is Mario Cristobal going to have Miami in year 2? And are Texas A&M fans actually excited for that type of litmus test early in the season?
Yeah, they are. There's a lot of excitement about that game. And you know, honestly, there's an expectation in the fan base that we need to win that game. And I agree. Like, Cristobal's going to – I know – I've actually known Shannon Dawson for a long time through the Holgerson tree, really the Sumlin and Holgerson tree there. He'd been at U of H forever and West Virginia with him. You know, if he can spark something and find, you know, the quarterback in Van Dyke that he was supposed to be, that's a dangerous early game. But A&M in year 6, with the players they have, should go on the road and beat a Miami team, unless that's a Miami team that's somehow playing in a New Year's 6. And then even then, though, I'd say it should be a coin flip.
Yeah.
They need to win that game, and they need to go take down Auburn at home in September in year 1 under Freeze. And then it's that Arkansas game. September is going to tell the tale.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, can you lose one of those? Yeah, sure. If you can beat Bama the next week at home and you're 3-1 in those 4, then you're okay. But they really need to win September. Yeah. And if they do that, then they could be that team that breaks back through and you say, okay, 5-7 was the anomaly. It
sure.
wasn't the signs that the decline has started and there's no recovering from it. If they go 3-0 in those games and you have 9 left, then you say, okay, they beat Arkansas, they beat Miami, they beat Auburn early. They should only get better.
Yeah.
So now what do you think about South Carolina and Mississippi State at home, Ole Miss on the road?
game.
Now you start going, okay, those are definitely winnable with what they've already done. It changes the whole outlook of the season. By the way, Penn State A&M's tried to schedule more than once. James Franklin don't want to do that.
Really?
So you can let your Nittany.
Well, that's interesting because they just did a home and home with Auburn.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun.
Caught us at a bad time, Dave. They caught us at a bad time.
But they scheduled it further out.
Yeah, we want to see it. Give us 2 years.
the Aggies do
Run it
have
back.
Notre Dame next year, starting next year.
Really?
That's
In
right.
South Bend?
That's right. Hey,
College Station next year. Longhorns, LSU, and Notre Dame.
That's fun.
yeah, that's
Sign
good
me
for
up.
college football. I'll say that September's so huge, I think, for the meshing of Petrino and Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah.
True.
Go ahead and get that because the onslaught that'll come if the offense doesn't show up,
Yeah.
play well against Miami. And that Miami team that kind of flipped the script is in a similar position to where Texas A&M was last year up front. They're going to be young. They're going to be talented, but they're going to be really, really young. So that's going to be a very interesting one to watch. Van Dyke, we'll see. We know he's talented, and we know they're fast. We know that.
Nothing feels right to me about A&M going 5-7. They're just too good. It's just like I just couldn't believe it even when I saw it. Like, just way too talented for that.
Well, Haynes King, we said it last year, Billy. Don't forget. Looked at Haynes King. I don't know how Jimbo Fisher looked at Haynes King and was like, "Yep, that's the guy." I think I know why, because he fell in love with his legs and thought he could get away with it. But at the end of the day, just watching Wegman throw, watching Max Johnson throw, compared to Haynes King, it's just absolutely
Max really settled things down. And they were getting blown out by Mississippi State because they just couldn't score in the red zone and kept dropping Will Rogers picks. And then as the game went on, but he beat Arkansas and he beat Miami when morale was at its lowest.
Yeah.
The thing about Haynes that was interesting, credit the kid. He played really hurt. He broke his foot, broke a bone in his foot on the last play of the first half against his last play of the first half against Florida. That was 24-24 at halftime, and that was with A&M with like 15 guys out with the flu.
Yeah.
And they were put up 24 and then didn't do anything in the second half. Haynes played with a broken foot. Was hurt against South Carolina. He's a warrior, but I'm with you. I think what it was with Haynes is he was third year in the system. He had won the job once before, and as a head coach's son, he's the biggest yes sir, no sir, and so sharp mentally, and he understood. And I'm not saying it was the right decision.
No, I know what you're saying.
You said it early. I had to see it. I saw it after the fact. You go, Max was the guy that was most likely. He'd beat App State.
Yep.
And things feel a lot different. But I think it was just so hard to take that job away from him that he won before he broke his leg, and there was such a high level of trust that he was going to know what to do the right thing, be poised, and it just didn't turn out that way.
Yeah.
And the inaccuracy throwing the football and the inability to get rid of it quickly just ultimately, I think, burned him. And we'll see how it goes at Georgia Tech.
I hope it works out for him.
Yeah.
I really hope so.
Will the same quarterback start every game for A&M this season?
I'll say if healthy, yes.
Okay.
I'll say if healthy, yes.
Yep.
The interesting one would be, ask me that question if Max Johnson starts the year.
Mm-hmm. And then a switch.
But I think so. I think the same guy will start. And I think it'll be Connor, and I believe it'll be Connor, but I think they've got a better second option than most teams in the SEC do.
Sure.
Everybody makes a big deal about, look at Ole Miss's court, look at
LSU.
But I mean, I'm like, Max Johnson, if he were to win a job and they win games with him, and think about the Petrino Max Johnson too. So I don't know, but I think Connor has star potential, and I think it's hard to pass on star potential. And it's a guy that he threw 8 touchdowns, no picks last year.
Yeah.
With everything else going on around him,
It'll never be harder than it was last year.
yeah,
100%.
8 touchdowns, no picks. In his last game we saw him play, he was making huge throws in the fourth quarter to beat LSU.
Yeah.
That's the last we saw of him.
Yeah. Well, I know the A&M fan base is fired up. We're always fired up to have you
yeah.
on, brother. Y'all do a great job over at
Appreciate it, Billy.
TexAgs.
Yeah.
You know, everybody over there love chopping it up with you, man.
We
And,
all appreciate the get them fired up, we can handle whatever they throw at us for what
For
we
sure.
say.
Love it.
Dude. It's
Love it.
fun.
Look, scared money don't make no money.
Don't ever say what y'all do that's the best is y'all have fun, man. I
For
love
sure.
it. I love watching
Always,
it.
man.
All right, guys.
Appreciate it,
Thank you,
Bill.
guys.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
All right, check out Texas A&M. Check out TexAgs, Billy Lucci, David Nuno, the whole crew over there, and make sure you subscribe.
Awesome time catching up with Billy Lucci, one of the best in the business. All right, we got top 5 college football uniforms.
Ooh, can't wait.
Let's get to it. Let's go ahead and throw mine up there. Let's get this graphic. All right, here's what I got. Number 1, LSU. All right, listen, you got to put bias aside in this. LSU's got the dopest uniforms, I think. The way that gold hits with that purple and that white, I mean, it's tough to beat. 2, North Carolina. Okay, I was going back and forth. Didn't want to put Ole Miss and North Carolina in here, both baby blues. I love when Ole Miss rocks the baby blues. But that North Carolina uniform, I mean, come on, man. Just look at it. And it's Jordan. 3, Notre Dame. Traditional gold. Obviously like gold. All right, got that King Louis in me.
Let's go.
I love gold. And that brings me to my number 4th ranked, USC.
Guys.
Absolute gasoline.
Yeah.
Absolute gasoline. And then TCU at number 5. I mean, TCU, I know they have a decent amount of combinations.
Yeah.
That, without a doubt, is the best combination. If you're on audio, you need to pull this up. That is the best. Look at the black with the purple collar. So give me LSU 1, North Carolina 2, Notre Dame 3, USC 4, TCU 5, and we did one worst.
So do you like the LSU away jerseys better than the home jerseys or the purples?
I just like them both.
Okay.
I like the white. I like the white with the gold top and the gold bottom the best, but I just think the combination of it, you can't screw it up. I don't think you could screw it up.
It's gorgeous.
I like the purple too, like the purple uni.
Yeah.
That's dope. Obviously, I got TCU on there too. I don't know what it is to me about gold and purple.
What about Washington?
Washington? It's nice. It's a little generic.
I don't care for Washington.
No,
Little generic for
Hashtag
me.
not a huge
Kind of a
fan.
weird-
Usually not a big
weirder
fan of
purple.
purple, but LSU gets a pass.
Yeah.
Sounds
All
like-
right, and here's my worst. Let's pull this up. Ugh. 2009 Colorado alternate uniform.
Okay, so you went alt.
You went alt.
Okay.
Yeah, I could remember this. I think this was like number 1 on the Sports Center, not top 10. Whoever decided to do
Honey
this
mustard fit.
should be exiled to Siberia or the Antarctic Circle.
Oh,
Prime, if you're watching, don't ever, I know you won't, because you do have style. This is awful. It's disgusting. It looks like somebody threw up, like had a hangover
Honey
and
mustard
threw
fit,
up.
dude. That's what it is, a honey mustard fit.
I heard they're wearing those week 1.
Oh, God, then congrats.
Showing
you're
up against
0-1.
Nebraska.
Yeah,
Week
congrats,
2
you
of those.
lost.
Shall I pull mine up?
Yeah, you should pull yours up.
Shall we? Boom. There it is. First of all, I'm going to go 5-1 here. All right,
Okay.
that's what I'm going to do. USC, I mean, the color combination is phenomenal. There's something about it, just especially with the gloves, with the fit. I mean, come on, it just rings home.
It does.
Rings home. 4, the Fighting David Cone.
There we go.
Love the combo. Not a huge fan of the helmet, not going to lie.
What?
The jersey,
That's the best part.
That's not. It's not. We don't get into it. It's okay. I'm not hugely sauced up about it, but I'm kind of sauced. All right. Jersey, phenomenal. Yellow with the blue, the cleats with the spat.
Maize.
Come on, the jump.
Maize, not yellow.
Well, maize.
Move along.
I'm due for the kids.
That's Spanish for corn.
Yeah.
Fact.
Kids pay.
See, he knows.
Kids pay.
Yeah.
Let's go to LSU. We talked about it. The combo's absolutely fire. Home or away, you can't beat it. Let's go to Texas number
Texas
2.
is dope.
There's something about the orange and whites that just really and when it comes to me playing Road to
burnt
Glory,
orange
that
does
Road
go
to
hard.
Glory on NCAA, it's either going to be orange and white or red and black. All right,
That burnt orange
Those are my
goes
2.
hard.
That burnt orange goes hard. The white helmets with the Texas logo, and number 1. You know, North Carolina jersey. I'm a huge powder blue guy.
Me too.
I'm just a huge powder blue. Can't really put my finger on it. I don't know why. Maybe it's just aesthetically pleasing to look at.
That's a big Expos
but
guy.
It's just a top tier jersey. All right, top tier color scheme. You know, Drake May's out there slinging around the powders. I think it just it's +4 on arm
When the
strength.
Braves go powder boot,
+4 on arm strength, +2 on. I mean,
Yes.
come on, you cannot go wrong with the powder blue jersey. And my worst, pull it up.
the fan users.
Florida, it's just like, look,
A&M.
like you can't the green and the orange, it fits some places. I mean, we're talking Miami.
Yeah.
You know? But don't shove it down my throat.
Yeah.
That is I don't know what blind person made that.
No, it's like
but they should smell something was up.
It's like they let a little kid design the first day you let your kid dress themselves. That's what it looks like.
That's awful. That's hideous.
All right, bring up the list that will be winning the Dodgeball Invitational, please.
Let's see what this. I guess.
What number one is?
Number one is. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There we go.
Oak State's got.
All right. First off, let's start at number 5. I want to show Oklahoma State some love.
Yeah, I like
okay?
I like
really
that
love the Oklahoma State looks. Like Halloween.
It is
You
dope.
come out in the all blacks.
Yeah.
You got the OSU on the logo, the right OSU. You know?
It is a good look.
Notre Dame, number 4. I agree with you, man. When they get the navies going with the gold pants and the gold helmet, it's just a traditional good look for college football. Not a top 3 helmet, in my opinion, like you guys tried to convince me it was last year, but better than the Penn State all-white helmet.
I agree with that.
Notre Dame, number 4. Miami has to be on the list, guys. Miami has to be.
I went back
number
and forth
3.
with that one.
Really, any
Went back and forth
combination,
Miami
man. You could have the white jerseys, the green jerseys, the orange ones. It doesn't really matter. Miami, just a great, great uniform. I'm going to put Michigan at number 2, not just for the helmet. This right here is the blue on blues, but even when we have the maize pants of a traditional look like the one you put up there, you got to love it. And then to me, the best uniform in college football is the Ole Miss powder blue.
Man, it's hard to argue that.
I can't believe you guys didn't have them on there.
Well, see, I didn't want to
North Carolina powder blue.
I didn't want to.
I love North Carolina. Love North Carolina.
We didn't have they didn't have the powder blues in the graphic.
There's something about the red with Ole Miss that really accents the powder blues.
I can see
at
that.
Ole Miss.
I like that.
And with that visor there and that pick,
yeah, it's dope.
hey, I'd go play for Ole Miss.
What's your worst?
All right, I didn't know we were going alt uniforms because I could have really done
That's fine. You're safe here.
deep dive. But just of traditional uniforms, bring up Maryland, please.
Oh.
There we go. Look,
those are
here's
bad.
what I want to say to Maryland fans. Huddle up real quick because I get it. You're making the helmet the state flag, and the state flag's what's doing a lot, not so much your helmet. And sometimes I look at it, they have versions of it that I'm like, man, Maryland's uniforms are pretty sick today.
Yeah.
But not these. If you're going to have a helmet that's doing that much, make the uniform and the jersey just basic as you can.
I don't think it helps
Right?
that you have the long snapper and kicker in the picture. It didn't make anything
I had
better.
to find the worst picture that I...
Look at 29.
43.
29's like, yeah, Gerald, get kicked.
43 felt like he's about to try and sell me life insurance.
How'd you know his name was Gerald?
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone knows that. 43 could stand up and fix his knee pad at the same time.
Oh, my God. Let us know whose list do you agree with. Oh, that's good stuff. Blaine, Booster Club, before we go over to bets.
Jake, Rolly season, $10 dono. I wasn't here yesterday, but just wanted to say Tennessee scholarship bans are 16 and less than mentioned.
Yep, I
Because it's self-imposed. I got to read it.
Okay.
I read whatever in the prompter.
Fixed it.
All right. Because it's self-imposed the last 2 years, so it's only like 8 to 10 left. Love you guys. Have a great day.
Yes, love you too. I did change that and corrected that earlier in the show.
Let's go to Jake's Extra Strong Cologne. $2 dono.
Delicious.
How many QBs will end up throwing to DeAndre Hopkins in 2023?
2.
That's a good question. Yeah, I'll say 2.
2, because
I'll say 2.
Ryan Tannehill ended up either getting hurt or screwing up in the first 4 games. And then put Will Levis in there, who's going to see how many times he can throw it to the other team.
Will Malik Willis be on the roster?
I think he'll be on the roster.
Chris C says, surprise, Oregon isn't on anybody's list.
Don't
I almost
like
put
it.
him in my worst, to be
Too
honest.
much going on.
If we
Too
were
much
doing
going
alt
on. I don't like
uniforms,
highlighters. I don't trust
but
them.
you know what's crazy? When they had the, who was on the NCAA cover? Was it Joey Harrington?
Yes,
Or,
2003.
those old school Oregon jerseys before Phil Knight at Nike started doing
that's a
all these
true
different
statement,
combos, those
David.
old school Oregon jerseys were so great.
That's a true statement.
With the
They lost
O
the
on the
technique.
helmet, they didn't need to mess with it.
All right, Jason Critter says TCU and LSU don't belong in the top 5.
I mean,
Who
Jason,
doesn't?
I just disagree with you, man, wholeheartedly. Like, I don't know another way to put it. Like, I mean, maybe disagreeing with one, I get it. Like, who would you replace him with?
It's a great question.
Bill
Everybody's asking.
Spill. All right, get to bets. 30 and 27 on the month. Up 3 units, basically. Nobody's talking about it, though. We got a long way to go. We're just going and grinding, going to work, waking up, getting ready.
You gonna read your bets, or like you just gonna tell us your whole life story?
I'm going Zach Davies on the mound and Bryce Eldering on the mound as well. Nerfy at plus 130 today. Look, Bryce, let's get to the top of the first. Zach, I always say, take dominant pitchers on the road for the Nerfies. It's at plus 130, which scares me. Ronald Acuna, just please don't hit a home run at the bottom of the first. Just please don't hit a home run to lead off the game. Even though I want the Braves to win, don't do it. Score in the second. Then give me the Twins money line at plus 105. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. I want to win this month. Don't kill me on sex night.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Coney.
John Isner's going to win in straight sets, plus 140. Go ahead and mark it down. And the Nats, Cubs, Nerfy, no runs, first inning, minus 105.
Why do they got to be straight sets?
Huh?
Yeah, man, you got a problem?
You got a problem?
John Isner will win in back-to-back sets. Children.
I'm gonna go. Give me a minus 1,000 on everyone seeing Jake's mic on the side of his hip. Side of his hip. What's your ruining it in your ears?
I don't know. It's got lost in translation.
Give me the Marlins money line plus 136. They're on the road, but hashtag I believe. And then I'm going back to old Steady Betty. Oh, Matt Olson, home run, plus 280, bottom of the 8.
Steady Betty?
Absolute tank.
Why have
Absolute
I never
tank.
heard that before?
A Steady Betty? Let's say a little quab?
I swear.
A little quab? Hey, let's have a little quab.
Spit more rhymes than a lazy Susan?
Ooh, let's go. Don't do that to me again. All right,
innocent
poll.
till my guilt is proven. Who wins the SEC West? Other. Alabama. LSU. Auburn.
Give me LSU, 41%. Too high, you think, David?
Yeah, LSU 40%.
Price is right. Me.
Other. 10%.
Ooh.
Auburn. 8%. Excuse me, other just went to 11%.
Live update.
Alabama. 34%.
Okay.
LSU. A whopping 48.
Wow.
Be a hero, baby.
Illusions, father.
Tigers are in there
Illusions.
today.
Anything I can get to before we ride?
$2 donation from Cole Frank.
About the Discord?
Jake.
I saw it.
Can I just live my life over here, Dave?
Yeah.
Go
ahead, tell us.
Thank you.
Let him know his life.
Jake has joined the
Say it.
Discord.
Yes.
Cone.
Yeah, Dave.
I tried to download it yesterday, and it asked me for all this information to get in on it on my mobile
I
app.
had some phone trouble last couple of days. But
Huh? But
Gotta
I got
fix
my
that
phone-
new SIM
I got
card.
my phone fixed yesterday, Cole. They gave me a new SIM card. Whatever that means. I don't understand why after 18 months, the $1,000 iPhone 13 is already breaking. Meanwhile, my dad still got a flip phone from 2000.
Papa Cone.
But I told him, I said, I need to get this Discord situation figured out, and you're not letting me do it.
Discord?
We got on it.
We got it.
all right, yeah, Andrew Carlson. Shout out to Army and Navy uniforms.
Yep, they are dope. Army's
And Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, also got some sweet.
See, like that's why top fives are so hard.
Well, we could do a top 5 group of 5.
Top five group.
Top 5 group of 5?
Grouping the top five.
Group 5, top 5?
Top five the group.
Let it be done.
I love it.
I love that. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe. Got some more great content going straight to Media Day from over here. Going to have a great day, too. We're there all week. We appreciate you guys so much. And like the chances of people believing in Texas A&M this year, we're going. Gone.